Hello, welcome back to 4T Fit Food Live for a change. I know it's been a few weeks.
3 weeks missing it.
Sorry guys, I'm sure you were in pain and crying, but we're back, so no need to worry.
So this is 4T Fit Food, and what we've been doing for the past 9 weeks, this is now week 10, is we've been going over the 10 Fit Commandments, and we are finally here at commandment number 10, which is a strong word called refinement. Rare like a diamond, not for freshmen. They tell you about a hack, just say hell no, and stick to skill, focus, rain, sleet, hail, snow.
Wow, it's a lot of weather references.
Speaking of the weather, it's hot in Florida. Very hot, very humid.
It is no joke here, people.
Yeah. So this commandment is the 10th commandment, refinement. Refinement, again, remember, these commandments rhyme with the original, and that's why we picked this specific word.
It's not because these are the end-all be-all 10 rules.
Yeah, but you know, the thing I think with each commandment is, one, we try to make it kind of flow in this rhyme, yes, but it's that you can dig a little bit deeper into each one and then expand on it and maybe come up with like synonyms for it. So for me, refinement and that lyric of, they tell you about a hack, just say hell no, stick to skill, focus, rain, sleet, hail, snow. The way I look at that is, you only get better at something by practicing it and continuously doing it. And if you want to be successful at something, probably one of the main things you should do is do the thing.
That's right.
And not talk about it.
Like Kung Fu, we always tell everyone, what does it mean? Hard work, or kind of be interpreted as hard work, working man, and you know. So yeah, that's like refinement, right? Doing your numbers, repetition, refining.
Right. And sticking and thinking of your training not as a workout, and this I think goes with strength training and especially Kung Fu. It kind of comes in definitely for that, but with anything that you do, to not think of it as a workout session,
like a task,
but think of it as training, as practice, as refinement, as you've picked a skill that you want to improve, and you're not just going to go through the motions, but you're thinking about the movements. So another really good thing you can do is video yourself, look at how you do things. Look back at it in slow motion, and you can continuously keep sharpening the sword. Yeah,
so I don't know, I'll misquote the phrase, but it's like you don't want to be, is it practice perfectly? Or?
Right, yeah, so practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect, which is, well, it says what it says, but basically, whenever you are doing something, just because you are doing it, may not be enough. You have to think about what you're doing, get a coach, get someone to look at it, but approach it as something where you're trying to improve, even if it's by 1% each time.
Yeah, so for example, right now it's tournament season. We have a few competitors going to the tournament in Orlando, and we're at that phase where, okay, they've learned what they need to know, they're doing their repetition. We left, we came back, and now I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, now it's time to refine. We're gonna, what I call, polish it, right? So we're gonna take what they're doing, it's a lot of repetition, it's breaking down the sections, but it's basically, these competitors, they have to come in and they can't just show up and go through the motions.
Right.
Like everything has to be with intention. Everything has to be at that percentage of perfect practice, right? So if they want to get a certain move correct and right, the best way to do it is to, slow it down if that's what it takes, but to do that and then, continuously break down what needs work. So if it's a, power issue, then we take that component and we work on the power part of it. And then after that, maybe it's, not getting the accuracy, the lines of where your arm is. And so, okay, we're gonna take time to work on that. So sometimes it means also breaking down and just looking at one thing versus trying to look at the big picture too much. It's like kind of honing in on the weaker points and then, just taking it day by day. And it doesn't mean we're gonna do every single component of that Kung Fu movement or the form. It just means we're gonna try to refine whatever it is we're working on that day.
Right, and I think I would attribute this to Pavel Satsling of kettlebell fame and Strong First, where he said something where you can look into a movement like the get up and have it be an inch wide but a mile deep. And I think Kung Fu is like that, and this talk about refinement and skill focus is like that, where you don't have to think, well, how can I try to accumulate as many skills as possible? Whereas you can sometimes focus on one thing. And in strength training, we call them like bang for your buck type of exercises, like a single leg deadlift has a lot of crossover to a lot of other things. So you can continuously focus on a few really big rocks, and that will have a carryover effect to other things. So there is definitely a benefit to working on skills and refining those skills that are a little bit more narrow, a little bit more few things, as opposed to trying to think I'm going to get better at everything, because you try to do that, you're not going to be as successful as you.
Yeah, basically, it's not efficient. It's not efficient work. Also, it's not an efficient work method. But absolutely, in the Kung Fu world, we're always telling the students that they want to go deeper into the knowledge versus shallow.
Right.
And so, for example, when we do what we call advanced class, we spend a good portion of our advanced class on basics.
Right.
And everyone thinks we're going to be like flying and doing all these fancy movements in advanced class, when really what we do is we take what we know, we go deeper into what we know and understand it better. And that's really kind of that refinement, and just kind of delving deeper into the knowledge and understanding what you're doing at a higher degree, which is only going to make you a better practitioner and will eventually advance you to the more fancy things, or the stronger things, or get you to the quote unquote what you imagine to be your goals. A lot of times it's just that breakdown of what, as a musician, that means doing your scales. As an artist, I'm sure there's like basic things that you should be doing. I don't know anything about drawing or painting, but I'm sure there are some basics in there. But it's that principle of really taking that step back and not just trying to like do the full set or routine or whatever. And for us, doing those Kung Fu forms, sometimes it's just doing 2 or 3 moves, and that's your 20-30 minutes of just repeating that. And sometimes it's tiring for people. They don't like it. It can be boring. It can be taxing. I'm going to check. It looks like we have a message up there, but it is the way to really meet your goals. Like it is the way to actually improving and advancing. Yeah,
and I think that makes me think of, if you have 10 different goals, you don't have any goals. But if you can narrow things down to, this is what I'm really passionate about, here's what I really want to do, then it's probably something from HIP.
It is.
But
referring to the flying during advanced class, he thought that was a secret. We weren't supposed to tell people about it.
No, it's top secret stuff.
Yeah.
So, but here's the gist of it is, you can take all of the commandments and dig a little bit deeper into each one. This last commandment, refinement, is something that I think is missing a lot, especially now, because we get so distracted. And if with too many great TV shows, too much things on my phone.
Well, Game of Thrones is over now, so I think
everything's over.
Everybody should have their Sundays at 9 free.
Right. Too many emails, too many things going on. But if you just realize that life is kind of short, and if you find something that you're passionate about, then try to dig a little bit deeper into that, study it, refine your skills, and I think it will bring a lot more benefit to other things in your life, as opposed to, which is, I'm speaking to myself now, I'm speaking to Oscar, to myself, is don't try to learn everything and try to get as much information as you can, because then what happens is 5 years go by and you're kind of still in the same spot.
Yeah, you wonder why you haven't improved.
You're still learning all of these different things.
Better.
So it's like, I don't know, it's like I'm trying to get to that across the river, and all I've done is just accumulate more books, but I'm still in the same spot. I need to let go of some of these books and just focus on the one.
Well,
maybe do a little bit more rereading.
Yeah, so for example, on our what we consider to be a retreat. So while we were away, hopefully you tuned in and watched the videos that we posted online. They're also on our YouTube channel. If you missed them and you don't want to search through Facebook, you can go to Wallen Films and the 45th Who playlist there and look back. And pretty much we've gone through all of the commandments from Oscar's awesome music video. If you haven't seen that yet, make sure you check it out, because that's what we've been talking about. And while we wrap up with number 10, what we did actually on these retreats, which is why we were gone, we apologize, we couldn't be live, we were in the middle of the ocean, service is not so good there, so we refined. We didn't learn new material. We do workshop stuff with Grandmaster Chan and Master Susie Chan. We did a lot of Chen Tai Chi, and I'll tell you, you want to talk about refinement, and she's just like, okay, every day, just 45 minutes, why don't you guys just do your basic, and it's, is it this way, is it this way? I mean, the refinement, the level of refinement that she kind of requires is really high, but what happens is, for a long time, those certain movements, I really wasn't like connecting for me, and just kind of that repetition. And I'm talking, this has been years now. We've been working on some of these moves, and it just kind of really connected. And that's just kind of because we take the time to really break it down and listen to the cues, listen to the notes we're given, and then just do those basics. So for a Kung Fu student, if we're talking about, not just making the tight fist, right? But making sure that your arm's not out, that you're nice and contracted in. So if we were to take something like a basic punch, and we're going to refine it, students, love to lead with their upper body, instead of engaging the waist or something. So we would take something like a punch and make sure, what's the first thing? We'd make sure the fist is tight. Right? We'd make sure like this is connected. Then we'd make sure the wrist is straight. Then we'd make sure like this is all in the right alignment and things like that. So it feels very analytical, and again, for students, often boring to really break things down. But if you want to be where you're doing all the moves really fast and everything looks really cool, or everything feels very connected, you have to take the time to do it. And
And I think you can do these type of things and find enjoyment in it if you're really passionate about it. So always go back, or nerdy. Always go back to what your goal is. And so one of my goals is to be better at Kung Fu, because I want to be a better teacher to my students, and I have to improve myself.
Right.
But because I look back and that's my goal, then I really enjoy when we do basics, repetitive things over and over again. And I take a lot of pleasure out of it. And I take a lot of pleasure out of anything to do with basics. So here's the thing. We're at our last one. This is our 40 Fit Fu episode 41, and our last of the 10 Fit Commandments. And my thought is to kind of leave it up to you as audience members, is to move forward and try something a little bit different. Or instead of maybe not just talking, is to maybe shorten these to maybe about 10 minutes and just do a follow-along routine. I hate to say workout, but maybe some kind of training session where we're trying to move towards something. We can do joint mobility follow-along.
Joint mobility, that's so weird. You hate joint mobility. You never talk about it on 40 Fit Fu.
Yeah, we can do stretching. We can do any kind of things and maybe make it into a 10-minute workout session for the week. Something that you can work on.
40 Fit Fu of the day.
Yeah, and just see, and maybe try it out for a month and see what you guys think. So we would love your feedback on that. But
yes, so let us know what you'd like us to work on with you, because again, even if you're joining us live and you're just watching us and you're not able to follow along, we post it on YouTube, and we also have it of course on Facebook. But if you want to follow along the playlist, at least you'll have some things, and we just want to give you some things to enhance as you're training in the 40 plus range. That has helped us. I know we've talked about it a lot, but Coach O over here thought it'd be a good idea,
so that's what our goal is. So next week, we'll figure it out before then. But if you have an idea of something you want to bring up, then
let us know.
More than open to hearing. But until then, next week, same time. And if you don't catch us live, just watch the video later.
That's right. All right. Thanks for joining us on 40 Fit Fu. See ya.